How's it going, everyone? This is Greg here. I'm going to be doing a quick voiceover through my warm-ups of my latest back squat and lower body session. It's about a 5-minute clip here. And the two things we'll talk about is number one, sort of my take on mobility and stretching as a part of a warm-up routine, and also kind of how I build in the loads as I warm up to my working sets. So the first thing you'll see here is this is the first thing I did when I got into the gym. I think my mask is still on my face. I set my bag down and I did a couple of good mornings with a barbell. And then I transitioned into what I think are called Kang squats, pretty much just a good morning directly into a back squat here. I'm holding that for a few seconds at the bottom, again, to kind of actively stretch the position that I'll be training. And you see here, I look kind of tight the first rep I do, a little bit more open there. I move into some back squats. Depth is already looking better. And again, this is the first thing I did. No bike, no foam roll, no stretching, no bands. And it is really my belief at this point that your warm-up should be dictated a lot by what your passive range of motion is. So if you're watching this video and you can just sit down and do 5 or 10 good air squats, you probably don't need to do 5, 10, 15 minutes of foam rolling in order to get in a good position to do air squats. If you're doing something more dynamic in which you can't do that pretty much cold, it may require more warming up. But one of the big mistakes I see with people in the gym every single day is an overabundance of warming up, and it's not very specific to their actual demands. So you see me here, I'm in a very much a squat position. I'm playing around with different forward and back positions, stretching my calves here a bit, but this is obviously a back squat position. So it's very specific to what I'll be doing in just a couple of minutes. Versus if you foam roll your calf and you do a scorpion pose and you do all these other things, a lot of people find out when they actually get under a bar, they still have to warm up this movement in particular. So a lot of that general stretching and general warming up doesn't always transition into the movement, okay? And you may think, well, what's the harm in doing those things, right? What if I would like to, stretch, or I like to foam roll and all of that? Well, there may not be harm, the literal harm in doing it. It does take time, and most people don't have infinite time to be in the gym. So if you're right now taking 20 or 30 minutes to warm up, and you only have 90 minutes in the gym, well, if you could take that warm up and make it 5 minutes, that gives you 10, 20 more minutes to do real training that's actually going to help you get closer to your goals. You can do more squats, more snatches, more intervals, whatever you're doing, right? So think of it that way of not is this hurting, but would something else be more beneficial towards my goals? And we've already kind of moved into my warm-up sets here. And this is also kind of feeding into what I think is an adequate warm-up. So I take a lot of sets to warm up to my working weights. So again, for me, I'd much rather do squats at 95 pounds and 135 and 185 and 225. Very, very light weights for me. I'd rather get my warm-up through light squatting, again, rather than just very general band stretching, foam rolling, etc. And if you watch all of these through, you'll slowly start to see my movement quality improve. So on this particular day, I think I did 95 pounds for 5, 135 for a few reps, 185 for a few reps. This is 225 for maybe just like 2 reps. So I'm not doing a lot of volume as I build up in weight because I don't want to get tired. But I do like to feel the load, especially neurologically for me. I think it really helps to not just make big jumps and then a 315 or a 365 squat seems like a mountain on my back. So I believe this is my final warm-up set here at 275. I think I do this maybe for 1 or 2 reps. I do put a belt on, again, to kind of feel what that's going to feel like for my more working reps. And then on this particular day, I was doing some higher rep work, about 6 to 8 reps at 330. So I went from 275 to 330. Not a tiny jump, but was kind of appropriate for me on this day. So hope this video kind of shared some light on my general warm-up tips for both kind of the mobility side of things, which may be a bit different than what most people do nowadays, and also how you build up and load over time. So as always, thanks for following MyoBrain, guys, and hopefully this was helpful.